Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Trust the Process.
Yes, yes,
I hope
yes.
everybody's doing great.
Mhm.
Hope everybody had a great week. We are now approaching the weekend. We are now on Friday.
Yay.
Yay.
Friday.
Yay, Friday.
Some people say.
Yeah. So we also want to give a I guess, Valentine's.
No, we've already had Valentine's, huh?
Well, a late Valentine's. Mhm.
Valentine's was what, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
I think so.
Yeah. But
Every day's Valentine's Day.
every day is. It truly is. That's what they say. That's what they say.
At least that's what we're going with today.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. We're so glad to have you here. And I tell you, our topic today is it love or lust? That's what our topic is today. I had to say it that way because it's just the way it sounds. Is it love or is it lust?
So we're going to start out with definitions. Do you want me to go with
Yeah.
love first, or are you going to do lust first?
Well, I'm gonna go with the definition of lust, and
First,
of course, the
okay.
definition of lust: very strong sexual desire, a passionate desire for something, a strong craving for sex. A passionate desire can be something that can deal with power.
Mhm.
It can deal with various things, so it don't always have to be sexual.
That's true.
A lot
Not
of
with that second
people-
definition.
not with the second definition. No,
Mhm,
no.
mhm,
So a lot of people get that miscrewed. But yeah, that's what our topic is today. So that's the definition of lust, and I believe that we're going to go into
the
the
definition of love,
definition
right?
of love. That's what
Okay.
we're going to do. Yeah.
All right. The first definition that I have is that love is an intense feeling of deep affection,
Mm,
and it could be towards another person, right?
right.
It's also a great interest and pleasure in something. For instance, you could love biking, you could love exercise, you could love dancing. So there's all kinds of different things that when we talk about love,
Mhm.
there's so many different aspects and connections to other things other than just a relationship, right?
True.
It also could be a person or thing that a person loves. Because you know something I love?
Hmm.
My love. My boo.
My
whoever.
boo. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
Your boo, whoever.
My boo. Yeah.
So I wanted us to talk about we were talking about early about how over the years, at least when we were of age, dating age and teenager and 20s, how men approached women and they were trying to get their attention.
Mm.
What are some things you remember?
For getting attention?
A guy trying to get a girl's attention. What would they
Well,
do?
first of all, you start off with hello. How are you doing? And you introduce yourself.
Is that what happened when you were growing up?
What to get some attention from a girl or to get attention of a girl?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we were talking about something else earlier.
Oh,
remember?
You talking about flowers or? Oh, what?
No, babe.
What?
Remember we were talking about how back in the day, if a guy liked the girl, he would say, hey, you. You know, she could be walking down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, or either whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cat
hey,
calls.
yeah. Hey, ponytail.
It always had to be a name. They had to label the person with the name so they try to distinguish who they were talking to, right?
Right.
Hey, blue shirt, what's up? Craziness like that. You remember now, don't you?
Now I do. I thought you were talking about the decent, clean way.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were young.
Did you ever do that?
I never did that.
Okay.
I don't think, I had the courage enough to really to do a young lady like that back in the day because I was taught to respect.
Yeah.
And plus, I was very shy
Okay.
in high
Okay.
school. In junior high, I was very shy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand. Yeah. I have seen some guys do something worse than that.
Yes. And I know that from my own personal experience, from that point of view of being, what's the word I want to say? They used to rate us.
Oh, well.
Guys would rate us. You walk by from 1 to 10.
Oh, wow.
I've experienced that, you know,
Mm.
like we're objects or something.
Wow.
That was not a good thing. That's not a way to get anybody's attention
Yeah.
or connect to have a relationship. If you go say, "Wow, oh man, she looked like a 5." No, man, no. I don't know. I would give her maybe. I might would give her a 4. You know,
wow.
something crazy like that.
Wow. That's
interesting
crazy.
stuff.
Very, very interesting. I said, hey, bro, I'm home. What are you up to? Oh.
Did we get a? I heard something click. Did we get a question?
That was
a remark.
What? That was my bro D.
What did he say?
He said, "Hey, bro, I'm home. What are you up to?" Oh, we on the podcast, D. I'm letting him know.
But yes, yeah. And but I know we didn't really approach guys when I was growing up. We'd always wait for the guys to approach us. But I do remember, which I thought was very interesting, is that, you know, anytime we saw a guy that we thought was fine, it was handsome, it looked so good, we would always call it, "I'm just admiring God's handiwork."
Okay. You get in the mic.
Instead of saying they're fine. Okay, I got to get a little closer. You can't hear me.
Can you say that again?
I was saying that some of my girlfriends and I, when we were in college, we saw a fine or handsome guy. We were like, we just say, "I'm just admiring God's handiwork." So, because we knew people didn't know what we were talking about, but we knew what we were talking about.
Okay.
We thought he was handsome. We thought he was attractive. We thought he was fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that's known.
Okay, so just remember, girls, you can use that, or ladies.
Oh,
I'm just admiring God's handiwork.
Okay.
And boy, did he do some work, you know.
Okay. Well, let the church say amen.
But the thing called love, do you remember the first crush you ever had, or
the very first crush I ever had?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord, she might be looking.
Don't be saying no name. We're not saying names tonight.
No,
we can't do that.
No,
we're not doing that.
Yeah, I remember. But I'm quite sure she's not looking. I think she's probably another state.
Just don't say a name.
Yeah,
don't say
but
no
I remember.
names.
Yeah, I was in kindergarten.
You were in kindergarten.
Yeah. Either first grade.
You started early, didn't you?
Hey, you know, and it started with a blue dress.
What about the blue dress
that she was wearing? Yeah.
That must have been a nice dress.
It was different.
What year was that? And that might indicate, because, you know, some of the early years we were wearing those short dresses and stuff.
Yeah, well, girls wore short little dresses back then. Yeah. And I think she was
was she older?
She was young. I mean, you know, you talk first, second grade.
Okay, because I didn't know. You know, some people, it might be an older woman.
Well, girls carried themselves different back then, even when they was little.
Okay.
You know, they was really, you know, very mature.
That's
You know, even though they was little girls, they was girly girls. You know, but yeah, with the pigtails, the ponytails, especially the pigtails. You know, we used to pull on their pigtail.
Yeah, they used to say that. I wasn't buying that when they used to say the thing about if they're hitting you or if they're pulling your ponytails, they really like you. I'm like, no, that can't be true.
Oh, could be some truth to that.
You think so?
Could be.
Is that what you did?
Well,
did you pull ponytails?
I did one time. Got smacked. Kapow, y'all. I said,
And I see you recovered from that, though.
Oh yeah. You don't have to worry about me doing that no more. Wow.
So mine, what would I say? 6th grade. I had a
Sixth
crush on a
grade.
guy in 6th grade.
Really?
I didn't start early like that, like you.
Mm.
Now I was teased once by some kids when I was like not was it kindergarten? I don't know if it was really kindergarten, but there was a little guy named Johnny that was in, and they teased me and said that he was my boyfriend, but he had this naughty nose.
Ew.
So I was not really a fan of Johnny, right?
Yeah.
But 6th grade, there was this guy I liked. I thought he was so cute, but I was always very shy. I didn't really, I didn't know, I wasn't gonna put myself out there. I was just very shy, just kind of kept to myself for the most part.
Yeah.
Kept my thoughts and my feelings to myself.
Yeah.
So
when do you think that? I guess it would occur in our teen years.
Okay, what part?
For the situations of the change, I call it the change.
You talking about puberty?
Yeah, puberty. When you go from a real high voice to down here for the guys, and there's usually change in our voices. Our voices change to puberty, and then
for the most part, hormones raging, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So those things that really gets us to this point of now, not only are we changing from the inside, but we're changing from the outside.
That's true.
So yeah, some of those things that really were not taught, at our age when we was going through puberty.
Right.
It was a hush hush thing back in the day, which is, I don't know why, but it was.
Well, I think our parents would have explained that if we asked. I didn't ask anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I really didn't ask anything. If we asked, they probably would have explained stuff to us.
Yeah, let's get in the mic there.
Oh, I'm not close enough to the mic. You can you hear me now?
Well, I want them to hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to stick close to the mic. I keep leaning because I'm tired.
And I thought she was leaning because she wanted to be close to me. But she's tired.
I'm tired and hungry. Sorry, transparency.
That's too much information. But it is true. But yeah, like I said, it was a hush
with the changes. Yeah.
And of course, when the puberty comes, and then from the inside out, it changes. And now you're looking in a different scope in life. With the males looking at the females look at the males, and so it's it can be very intense.
Yes, it can. It really can.
Yeah, very intense. So yeah, a lot of things started happening, especially in junior high. Especially in junior high, you got your football players, you got your cheerleaders, and it's always some cheerleader dating a football guy or a basketball guy.
An athlete.
Right? Yeah. And of course, the square guys, the nerds never got any attention, and then they end up being successful, and then they get attention.
Well, the nerdy girls didn't get attention either.
No, the nerdy girls didn't.
I was one of those nerdy girls.
I know. I didn't mess with, like I said, I really didn't, I would communicate with the girls, but dating wise, I never did that. Never did that, which was unusual. I know people thought I was a square anyway, but back then, but it is what it was.
Well, I know in junior high, some of the girls I hung around, we were playing basketball then. Back then, we could beat the guys. We could get out there and shoot hoops and run circles around them. And eventually, what happened was you hit high school, and they were, they were speeding and taking off and running and stronger and everything than we were. You know, so.
Yeah.
It was a change. Along with that puberty, other things started changing as well.
Oh yeah.
So what I was gonna say to you is, I'd like for you to share with everybody how we met.
Or how we met.
Yeah, because we were talking about that.
Yeah, of course we met on a community choir.
Because we're gonna see if the stories are the same.
I know it's gonna be jacked up. because I'm gonna probably be the one that's gonna jack this story up.
No, I didn't know. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean that you're
okay.
gonna jack it up.
But
Go
we
ahead.
did meet on the community choir.
Yes, we did. I agree with that.
I believe Gloria
Yes.
was telling you about me.
No.
Gloria, how did it? Okay, we did meet on the community choir. Got that part right.
You got that part right.
And I asked you out on a date.
Okay.
I asked you out on a date. Something came up, unfortunately, for that date, and
you didn't show up.
I didn't show up.
He didn't show up.
And there was no method of communication to her that,
there were no cell phones.
There was no cell phones. So, there was only pay phones
or landlines. Right.
And so I actually, unfortunately, stood her up. She probably could have cut me off from that point, which I'm quite sure those things was running through her mind to cut this man, I can't say the other word. Cut this man off.
Okay.
Or don't communicate with him anymore. But I think I recovered, or I made up from the mistake.
Yeah, you did make that up to me.
I made it up to you.
We set another date.
And I followed through. But I think I'll let you tell your situation about the Gloria thing. I don't want to tell that because I know I'm gonna jack that up.
Okay, so he got the first part right.
Yeah,
we met in a community choir. It's Triad Mass Choir out of Greensboro, right? Yeah, and it was Jimmy and Gloria Thomas were the ones who were the founders of Triad Mass Choir, right?
Right.
And so the situation as far as Gloria is that Gloria approached me, and she said, there's a guy on the choir that wants to know is interested in talking to you. Yeah. And he wants to get permission to call you. And so if she said, is it okay for if I get your number and give it to him? And I said, yeah, that's fine. That's kind of how it started. It started him being interested in me, and we've been in the choir together a whole year. Yeah, but we never really, other than hi, how you doing? That was it. We didn't even really interact with him. I sat over there in the soprano section. He was in the tenor section, right?
Right.
And so that's how we kind of connected from there. And what happened was, I think something came up with you and Jimmy or something. Y'all, I don't know if you gone somewhere and you stayed too long or something. You weren't going to be back on time. Something happened. And that's why we ended up missing the first date.
Yeah.
So he did make it up to me.
Yeah.
We went to a fish restaurant, seafood restaurant, right? Yeah. We did that for our date and everything. And then the second day, it was the Clark Sisters in concert.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to think. So when we first started talking, what did you think? What came to mind to you about me?
Well, I felt that you had a very vibrant spirit. Your spirit and your personality.
Okay.
I fell in love with your personality, your spirit, and then the conversation was so mature that it was like, wow. I think we talked about a lot of things.
We did.
Where literally the hours passed. I think it was in church.
It was one time we were sitting talking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was before rehearsal or something one time.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, the conversations, like I said, your heart, and then your smile. I was like, okay, this is unusual because seriously, I never met, a young lady that had this spirit and this joy.
Okay.
And it was a constant, just smile. And I'm like, is this for real? That she smiled. I never seen anybody smile so much. And it was so, it was just so appealing to me.
Oh, okay.
And then the conversation was very appealing. And then once I knew who you were and then got to know who you were, you know, and then also vice versa. We was talking about family. We was talking
Mhm,
about
mhm.
certain things in life,
Right,
perspective, you
right.
know, and I could see there was some common
Common ground, wasn't it?
grounds, you
Mhm.
know, during the conversation. And I was like, you know what? Because I think at the time I wanted to make sure that I was
Mhm.
clear-minded before I went into a relationship, because I think I just broke up with somebody,
Okay.
you know, that I think, you know, before I made a decision of trying to get back into dating, I didn't want to bring extra luggage
Right,
into that.
right, right.
So I sort of took a hiatus
Hiatus, yeah.
on that, you know, so
Mhm,
just to get
mhm.
back to me and make sure that, you know, I had to get myself together
Yes.
and make sure that everything was okay with me and life
Yeah, we
itself.
talked about that. I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember that.
Yeah. Cause I mean, really, I wasn't, you know, I didn't want my heart to be broken again.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
that's when I knew I had to take some me time to make sure that my motives, if I ever tried to get back into a relationship,
Right.
you know, that everything from my past was gone
Mhm,
in the
mhm.
past relationship. You know, I call it luggage
Or baggage. Some
or
people call it
baggage.
baggage.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But the thing
So,
of it is, I wanted everybody here to talk about how we met.
yeah.
And I know to get a good understanding of what we're trying to talk about tonight, is it love or is it lust?
Mm-hmm.
I do know that when I talked with Stan, I liked his spirit. I loved his sense of humor because he was funny,
Yeah.
you know, and there was a connection there.
Yeah.
And am I sliding? I think I'm sliding
I don't know what's going on with you and this mic.
But
I like,
and I'm trying to look at the camera and all this stuff at the same time. But
I can't even pull. Can you pull your mic in? Because I don't want to do it.
I don't
Take the
know.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I messed it up last time. You remember?
Don't
that?
mess up the mic now.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Is that better now?
You gotta get into
So don't
it.
slide.
Yeah, please.
Okay. But I wanted us to share some of these things because what you will find that as we talk about, you know, the difference between love and lust, you will get a better feel of what to look for.
Yeah.
When it comes to a relationship. And what I like about our relationship when in the beginning, as we were getting to know each other, that's a vital part of people who want a loving relationship, is to really get to know each other.
Yeah.
And to spend time together so that you can get a good idea of who the person is, what they're about, and not just focus on the physical part, right?
Right.
Because sometimes what happens in relationships is people sleep together, or they jump or they run into something so quickly that they don't take the time to know that person. They just want to get sexual gratification.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They just want it. They don't want that. They want that. They don't want it to be necessarily something special. It may just, to them, it may just be a booty call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of taking the time to get to know somebody, spending time together, doing things together, because we did spend a lot of time together and did different things, going to the park and all kinds of stuff. And so it's important that to have a good, long-lasting relationship, that we do that. Right. Because otherwise, have you seen people rush in, or people that are so more concerned about the physical aspect with friends of yours? Or what would you say about that?
I've seen that. To me, that was just a temporary kind of love, kind of lust.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of my friends go through stages of that, and the relationship was very short because the motive was it was jacked up. It was jacked up. You know, the motive behind it was because it was a physical attraction. And like you said, the connection, the sexual connection, it was just like a one night stand kind of situation. I've seen that a lot sometimes through some of my friends that I no longer connect with.
So you no longer
no. Because I disagree with how it was handled.
Okay.
And even when I bring it up in conversation, they felt like, man, what's your problem, Flick, or whatever. I'm like, no, I have a problem with that because that's wrong.
Right.
So, to get what you need for your own self gratification and then just go to the next girl, and next thing you know, the pregnancy, all that just occurs. So now you got a baby
Right.
that's now involved in your foolishness.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
then
point.
some of them didn't even step up to the plate to be a father. So therefore, the mother, of course, raised a child by herself.
The usual story. Right.
And so I like, that situation. I've seen stuff like that, even how guys approach women.
Yeah. Okay.
On conversation, on how don't even know how to talk to a woman.
Right.
And then the crazy thing about it, I mean, this is a different time, back then, that sometimes women didn't have self-esteem, low self-esteem issue where they would just desperately take anything or anybody to come their way. They didn't know nothing about this guy. And the guy really didn't care if he knew about the girl, he just wanted to try to get her, get in her panties.
Right.
Let's be straight up, about it. And so, I seen a lot of that in my youth, which was very unfortunate. But somewhere down the road, they had to grow up.
Right.
But it was sort of like too late because of the situation that has occurred. Now a child is involved. That's the thing of the outcome of that. The child had to suffer.
Right.
And that wasn't cool. I've seen girls literally throw themselves on guys, because they were popular.
Okay.
Popular athletes, of course, it's always with the athletes. I've seen that a lot, but they was young.
Right.
And, young, foolish, no control, no self-control. It just was happening back then.
I do know that both male and female people sometimes, and I've seen that, they think that sex is love. If that person sleeps with me, then they love me. But there's a difference between sex and making love or have that intimacy with somebody, and not everybody understands that. They may just think, okay, that person slept with me, they love me, they must love me. Why would they do that? So sometimes we don't have a good understanding of what love is. Right. We are thinking that, hey, they slept with me, then they have to love me. But like you said, a lot of times, particularly you guys, and some women were doing it too. That they would say anything to get people to sleep with them. Because that's what they wanted. That was the ultimate goal.
Because they were untaught.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody really knew back then what to distinguish love. Of course, they knew what lust was, but they didn't know what love was. To me, love is basically it varies. Everybody had their own personal definition.
Right. That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Love is more than a feeling.
True.
More than an emotion. Love is really an action word. Unconditional love is what I believe in. The unconditional love. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong or do wrong or right. I'm not going to sit there and judge you about it. If there's a problem, that's a
good point.
Let's get over it. Let's talk about it. Let's resolve this issue. But love is more than a feeling. It's an action word. It's an action word. It's really more than just a word. It's really a lifestyle.
Right. And that's a good, I just thought about what you said, and it made me think about that. When you see putting it in action, you're showing people, whether you're showing them by being respectful or valuing them as a person,
Yeah.
or, you're right. Love has so many factors and things that come into play that a lot of times it's complicated, even though it sounds like it should be something simple, right?
Yeah.
Love, it's very complicated.
It's very complicated. I think that's probably why so many people get divorced.
It's too much work.
It's too much work. I want out of this. I don't want to put no more time in this. How long we been in this? Oh, 2-3 years. Oh yeah, I don't want to put no more time. They just give up so easily, and from the beginning it wasn't right anyway. Because here we go again. Here's this M word again. It keeps popping up. The motive.
Okay.
What is your motive? What is your motive in this relationship? What is your purpose to be involved with me?
What is your goal?
What is your goals? You know what I'm saying? It's more than what you think it is. It's more than what you. First of all, can we have a decent conversation? Do you know how to conversate?
That's true.
A lot of people don't know how to have conversation, to get to know this individual.
Communication.
And the communication is number one key.
Yeah.
Which really becomes attractive when you have good communication and have sound communication.
Okay.
And something that can be discussed. Now you're getting into the mind.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Now you're learning this person through conversation, but also you're learning their mindset.
That's true.
And sometimes that can be a turn on.
Yeah.
For some people, which I feel that is better when I know you as an individual, and then now I'm understanding your psyche.
Right. How you think.
And how you operate,
that's good.
How you function even in everyday's life.
Something to think about, yeah.
Yeah. And that came in effect with me, with you.
Okay.
That literally appealed to me to a point that it became very attractive to me.
Okay.
And then everything else that came along with that, knowing your mind, knowing who you are as, Renee, knowing who you are as an individual, as a woman, and hearing things that we had intellectual conversation, that was very attractive to me. And some people, they find that maybe more appealing than the physical touch. Because once you know somebody's mind and conversation and have conversation and have things in common, the other things become secondary, or it enhances it. You're going from now the mental, now you can relate in the physical. But don't even think about the physical until you put a ring on it. And you made sure of that, because there were times that I could not control my fleshy self. I knew this one.
It's time to go home, man. It's time for you to go.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it, my mom told me, she said, the woman that tells you no will eventually be your wife. Renee didn't play that. I mean, I literally did I chase you around your apartment?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, maybe it's somebody else. Sorry. But I think things were sort of getting heated.
Yeah.
And you say, wait a minute, I'm not that kind of woman. You got to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you going to turn down all this chocolate? You turning down this Mac? You know what I'm saying? You turning down this Mac Daddy. I'm giving my everything. And this woman said, you got to go. I'm like, wow. I had no choice. I had to go. She had the door open and everything. I'm like, wow.
So yeah, that was my goal. My early years is I just wanted to wait until I got married. That was a choice that I made myself. And I think about, not saying it was easy. it was not easy.
I'm quite sure it wasn't.
But I had to, I had plans in place.
Wow. Did you? Yeah, you did. You kicked
before we met, I would have plans in place, because we know that with any relationship, whether it develops into love or whatever, there's always still that attraction there.
Yeah.
That attraction there. And anytime that I was around with particularly some certain other guys that I knew that I was attracted to in college, they show up, I have a room full of girls there. Or find other things to do,
Well,
I'm like, you can't be alone with that one, and it's important to know yourself, because you don't want to put yourself in a predicament that you both lose control and you can't keep yourself in check, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So important. So important, right?
Yeah, I'm still having a flashback of somebody kicking me out of their apartment.
But yeah, I made that choice, and then because I believe that was the right thing to do for me, and for my body. I want somebody to respect me and my body,
right?
And what my plans were for my life as well. And so that's kind of what happened with us. But just key points, I guess, that we want to touch on.
Yeah.
That it's love when you want to get to know the person really well. And it's not just the physical thing, right? We talked about that.
Right, mm-hmm. Right.
And so did you want to go ahead and add something else real quick?
Well, like I said, it's a lot of things on the individual point that you have to do. It's a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are you willing to take this sacrifice? Are you willing to individually put the work in?
Right.
And how bad or how much do you love this individual to put the work in? I mean,
right,
you can't,
right.
Those things that you once did, you can't do that anymore. So now, I mean, is it this one person that you're going to date, or is she just going to be a friend? If she's going to be a friend, at least let her know.
Yeah, that's good.
Before she or he invests their time into the relationship.
That's a good point.
Give them heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it real. If you're just kind of person, you're just not a single one person dating one individual, let them know. I think that some of the downfalls of where a lot of pain comes from.
Yeah, I think so too.
Where you don't let a person know straight up. Let them know, like, I'm not, I prefer that we be friends, or I don't want to get deeply involved right now. Or I prefer we be friends.
Mm-hmm,
but don't just keep giving a person a runaround and get what you want from them and then go to the next whoever. So, at least be straight up with that person before, because that's where the pain and the hurt comes from.
It's true. It's true.
Because you don't know the heart of the individual. They really, really might really like you, or getting to a point where they might love you, but
don't play around people's hearts.
Don't mess with nobody's heart.
Mm-mm.
That's why I'm like, man, I'm so glad I didn't have no girls. We didn't have no girls. I'd be in jail if I had a daughter. I'm almost there. Even to a point
with a son.
Yeah, but I mean, Aaron's cool. But for a girl, I'm just glad that we didn't have girls. Even with my niece, I don't, before she got married, I was very, very protective of her.
Yeah.
So, I told her, don't even tell me. Because by then she was in college, she was a woman, she was living her life. And, I told her, I said, don't even tell me.
You want to be in the dark. You don't want to know that. I don't want
to know. Because I'm end up being in jail. Don't tell me. Don't even tell me. She said, okay, Uncle Stan. I said, yeah, don't. Because it's just going to cut my life in half. Don't tell me. It'll shorten my lifespan. Don't tell me. Just don't tell me.
And so if it is your desire to have a relationship, it's like Stan said, it's important to do the work to get to know the person, and to know yourself. Because I know for me, before we even started dating, before we even thought of each other in that way, I was like, I got to work on myself.
Yeah.
There's some things that I know that I need to improve upon myself before I am ready to be in a relationship with someone that I can love.
Yeah.
So that any negative thing that happened to me before that time, I was not going to carry it into, into the relationship that we had.
Yeah.
And hold it against you.
Right.
And blame, and I didn't want it to happen that I would allow, negative experiences from the past to affect how I treated you or how our relationship was. So I just wanted to make sure that,
yeah,
that I had myself together.
Yeah.
Loving myself, taking time to take care of myself, and even respecting yourself. Because sometimes we don't respect ourselves.
No. And that shows in some perspective of other people's life when they don't respect themselves.
Right.
By the way they project themselves in life situation, everyday life situation, that they can't really control themselves at times because they hold on to the pain.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm just thinking about, I know it's probably not even on our discussion list, but
are we going off topic too much?
No. It's,
okay.
I even for the people that I want to give it, for the ones that have a relationship or were married, I've heard so much about the situation of divorce situation. And so when you're at that point of separation, and you can become vulnerable.
Right. Exactly. That's good. That's good.
I know that I've heard that it was like a death when you have a separation of divorce. But, in the situation, I don't know how that is because I haven't been there.
Right.
But in recovery, when you're in a recovery stage, you have to go through the emotion,
the healing
process, the pain, that you have to overcome all of that. Even if your significant other is still alive, or during a death, you lose your loved one. But most definitely divorce, you have to get back to you. That's a process, cause the emotional roller coaster that you're going to be going through because of the time that you put in with this individual over the years. And so now you have to get back into place, from what I'm assuming, to get back to you.
That sounds good.
To get back to you.
Yes.
And so, that will be to a point where you don't even want to try to get in another relationship because you're going through the healing process, and you're still at the vulnerable stage.
Right.
So I give people the kudos and that has and still going through the process. And with that, that comes with emotions are fickle. Your everything's just throwing off, your hormones, everything is going into spiral. So to get back to you, to get back to that healing place, to invest back into you,
right.
That is a task,
and it's a process.
It's important to do that. Even before you even try, like you were saying, getting into relationship, get back to you,
right?
Like you were saying, get back to you. And really, the sex itself, it's supposed to be last on the list.
Because you're talking about you're building a foundation.
Well, you got to build a foundation before you get to the, to the sex, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, that's my point of view. That's what I did.
Okay.
I had to learn before I met you, because I was out there. Ain't nobody.
So he says.
Yeah, ain't nobody business. So don't try to research me. Because I was out there before I met you. And so I had to change some things within me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to really start all over again, you know, to really become scot-free.
Scot-free?
Don't touch. Don't even try to think about it. Don't even lust. You know, I it was so bad that I would walk through the mall or whatever when I'm going shopping or whatever, and here she come on the opposite side. I would just take a detour on purpose not to look. Because I know my flesh.
Okay.
I knew my flesh back then. You know, and I was like, oh, man. You know, I'm like, here she, man, let me go into this other store. You know, because here she come. I saw her from afar. But I know my intentions were not pure.
Yes.
Because lust came.
Yes.
Because that's all I saw. Everything, if she sneezed, something would pop. It was that, you know, heavy duty up in there. But, you know, I was like, man, let me take a detour. I know. I ain't even trying to go that direction.
You gotta know yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I knew me. I knew what I had to do. I knew what I had to do. I knew what God told me to do.
Right.
You know, I didn't like it, but you know, he was trying to train my flesh. Self-control and all of that had to come in the part of that process.
Yeah.
You know, before I even tried to get back involved with somebody, my motives had to be pure.
Right.
You know, when a man findeth a woman, he findeth a good thing. You know, men supposed to be loving his wife as Christ loves the church. Do we know what that really means? The sacrifice that he had to make for his bride. It's a lot that Christ had to give up for his bride.
Yes.
You know, even his life. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's straying off from what we're talking about, this lust and the love situation, but God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So how much more does it require for us as men, you know, to give up things for the sake of somebody that we love? Are we willing to give up our lustful ways, our doggish ways?
It's something to think about.
Are we willing to give that up? How bad did you really love this woman? Do you know what that means? Do you know what it takes? Do you know the requirements of that? You know, some of these things, it's not a bed of flowery, you know, what you see on these commercials, you know, see them running in fields and
all the romantic
side and
people see.
Yeah. I mean, there is some parts of good in that, but that's really further down the road. I mean, you know, you really have to sacrifice. And you have to be mature enough to sacrifice. And I'm quite sure that women, and I'm praying that men also know the signs when they're legit or not.
Right.
But if you caught up in the body, you ain't gonna make it.
Exactly.
Because that's temporary. You know, there's no good thing in flesh. The last I heard when I read it.
Yes.
The word. And there's no good thing in this. I mean, because it's going to change. You know, it's going to change. Our bodies are going to change. You know, especially while you married and she's going to have your kids, your babies, her body's going to change. Unless she just physically got that kind of body that bounces back into place. And that's usually sometimes genetics. Or she's taking good care of herself even while she's carrying the baby, or she was very athletic before the baby. You know what I'm saying? But bodies change. You know, and I've seen a lot of that happening too. You know, they're not in love with her, but when her body changes, when his body changes, they want the original package that they got. But as
Not after all these years, you got.
But all these years, the package is going to change. Oh God!
Don't be surprised.
Oh, be surprised. Be ready, because it's going to change. Even if you got high metabolism, praise God if you do, and it's still like longevity and it's still there. You know what I'm saying? And just genetically, it comes from genes. That you might have that kind of body that bounces back in place, but if you don't, what are you gonna do? Who you gonna run to?
You're getting way out there now.
Oh, sorry.
Right, come on back in.
Okay,
I'm pulling you back in.
Oh,
Feeling you back.
Cause she ain't no Brick House no more, and he ain't Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I know. Honey.
Okay, I'm trying to keep it 100.
He's starting to ramble.
Okay.
Come on back.
It's hard.
Come on back.
Okay, I'm back.
But I did just think of something before we close out. I was thinking about the fact that there are people who are in relationships, in loving relationships, that are being tested and tried. And when you are in a loving relationship, you need to prepare yourself and expect that.
Oh yeah.
I will never forget, not too long after we got married, I had gone to employment security somewhere looking for a job, and this man came up to me. He was like, I got all these, how people try to do a line edge. I got on here, and I would love to get your number or something. He was saying, and I said, but I'm married, and he said, well, does he have to know? I said, yes, he does. He have to know, because you're not going to allow somebody to come in and invade what you have or take what you have. So just make sure that you're guarding your heart, and everything that goes with the rest of you, because sometimes when you are in a positive relationship, people are going to come. They're going to try and test it and see. And I mean, I've had people. I had one time I told my husband about it. There was a person at one of my jobs that was attracted to me, and I try to stay. I was like, I'm gonna stay away from him. That kind of thing. So we have to be on guard and on the lookout that we protect our hearts. Yeah, we protect our relationships and those that we love, because we don't want anything messing up our good thing. Right, Stan?
That's right. Don't mess up my good thing.
Nothing.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Because it's not worth it.
Right. Yeah.
Is it worth it? Over a temporary sex that only lasts maybe 30-35 minutes or less.
It's not 30. Some don't last those 35
Some don't even
minutes.
get there. Well, bless the Lord. Well, how?
So some people might be a minute.
Might be, maybe.
A couple of minutes.
Maybe. But is it worth it?
No, it's not.
It ain't worth it, y'all. Y'all. But we're going to end this note, y'all. And we're so glad that y'all were able to hear our podcast. It will be aired, pre-recorded also on our YouTube channel, Safari TV. And I'll make sure that I do actually post that.
Yeah, when we do the pre-recorded stuff.
On the pre-recorded, so you can see these.
And be aware
of these podcasts, which is very informative. If you never gave us anything of a chat, that is an opportunity for you to do also, even in our pre-recorded podcast.
Give us feedback.
Give us your feedback, please. Please do. And we're going to say, good night.
Good night, everybody.
And we love you guys.
We love you.
And have a blessed weekend. And we know we are.
Enjoy your life.
Because we got a lot to do.
Love you guys.
That's good, okay?
Good night.
Good night, y'all.